everyone. Our today's session is called Healthy Mind, Healthy Life, and together we will explore what mental health means and why mindfulness matters, and understanding window of tolerance and how it can be useful in our day-to-day life. So yeah, let's start with what is mental health. We do hear a lot of things about mental health, and sometimes we have the perception that having a good mental health means being happy and joyful always, but it's not that. Having healthy and good mental health means how we think, how we feel, and how we interact with others. It also helps us to cope with ups and downs in our life, and how our resilience is, how much it is strong, and how we are dealing with the difficult situation. It also reflects our mental health and mental well-being. So yeah, let's talk about some common mental health conditions. We do hear a lot of things about anxiety, stress, depression, burnout, but sometimes we don't know what they actually means. And sometimes we do mix up anxiety with stress, depression, and burnout together. So let's go through what it actually looks like. So when you're saying anxiety, it means that a persistent worry or fear, like fear of unknown, or we are just worrying too much about something that is interrupting our day-to-day life. Again, depression, when we're saying depression, it is just feeling like we don't have motivation to do anything. It's just a deep sadness that is sitting in our mind, and we are like we have to push ourselves a lot to do anything to get that motivation. When you're saying stress, it means our emotional or physical tension, which can be caused by the demand of our workload, academic load, or any difficult situation. Burnout is the extreme condition when we are exposed to prolonged stress. That time we may experience burnout, which is a really extreme situation of stress, and then we need to work a lot to bounce back to our normal life from there. Now, when we're talking about mental health and some common mental health issues, we need to understand our window of tolerance. So, window of tolerance is a window where we can handle and process our feelings in a healthy way. um, what we can say that it's how our nervous system responds to stress, and that shows how our what is the width and length of our window of tolerance. So if we are in a calm and composed zone, we can process things in a really right way. We can think clearly, we can communicate clearly, and it helps us to feel safe, feel capable, grounded. We are self-aware of our strength and weakness, and we feel engaged with our situation. Now, our window of tolerance can shrink, and we can often jump in the window of hyperarousal or window of hyperarousal. You can see this part. It's called fight or flight response. It is our hyperarousal state. When our window of tolerance shrinks and we are out of our window of tolerance, then sometimes we feel anxiety, we are being anxious, feel panic, feel fear, anger, aggression, these things. We feel overloaded, and then we just went into our fight and flight mode, where it's really difficult to process normal things, even do our daily normal day-to-day activities seems really hard because we are not in our window of tolerance, not in our calm and comfort zone. Again, there is another state which is called hypoarousal state, and here we will feel the response of freeze. That means our body, our emotional responses will shut down when we'll be in this state of hypoarousal. We often feel depressed, fatigued, numb, disconnected from our reality. when we are out of our window of tolerance and in the hypoarousal state. Now, we have noticed the symptoms of when we are out of our window of tolerance, when we are in our window of tolerance, and when we are in the hypoarousal state. These are the symptoms. I would like to open the chat for everyone to just let us know when we feel that we are out of our window of tolerance and how do we notice what are the most significant symptoms in our body or mind that we notice. For example, maybe we are feeling fearful, we are feeling panicked. So if you could just drop in chat or just share something, unmute yourself and share something when you do feel you are out of your window of tolerance and what's your experience. Anyone would like to contribute or share any thoughts are welcome. Yeah, Asta is saying something out of moment. That means, do you feel like you are not present or connected with your reality or your present moment? Yeah. Thank you so much, Asta, for sharing. Yes. So when we are out of our window of tolerance, maybe physically we are present in that situation, but mentally we are not present. We are thinking about something else. Our mind is like racing, and then it's really hard to connect our mind with our body and with our thought process. So, and it's also normal to jump out from the window of tolerance and yeah, feel hyper or hyperarousal state. But then we need to understand how we can bring back ourselves in the window of tolerance when we feel anxious or fatigued or numb. So let's discuss about mindfulness. Mindfulness is paying full attention to our present. It helps us connect our mind with our body and let us enjoy our present or do our work with full focus and concentration. That means when we are mindful, we can bounce back in our window of tolerance from hyperarousal or hypoarousal state. Let's talk about some benefits of being mindful. So being mindful has several benefits. Like in terms of mental health, it helps to lower the stress hormone. We all know that sometimes when we're stressed, our body releases cortisol, which is a stress hormone, and it makes us feel more stressed. So when we practice mindfulness, it helps us to reduce the stress and reduce the secretion of that hormone. It helps us to get better sleep and helps us to focus more and bring back our attention to our present. Mindfulness techniques and practices, for example, grounding techniques, breathing exercises. In grounding techniques, we do call it body scan, where we do pay attention from our feet to head and notice if there's any sensation, any tension, anything, any tightness, and we just be present in the time and let any thoughts come in our mind and just paying attention to our body, mind, and thoughts. There's another mindfulness technique called breathing exercises. I'm pretty sure you have heard this one quite a lot of time, but breathing exercise really help us to connect our body with our mind when we are in our overwhelmed stage. So when we say breathing exercise, it has a technique. So it says 4-7-8 technique. That means we need to inhale for 4 seconds, hold on our breath for 7 seconds, and then exhale for 8 seconds. Having said that, doesn't need to be exactly 4 seconds, 7 seconds, or 8 seconds. It can be just like you need to inhale deep and then hold on for quite a few seconds and exhale longer than you inhale. So yeah, that's how our body gets and our brain gets that oxygen that we need to operate. and we feel relaxed. Now, we have another thing called mindful living. That means when we are eating, we have to eat mindfully. What we are eating, what's the taste, just to focus on what we are eating. Also, mindful walking. When we are walking, paying attention to our surroundings, how we are feeling, what thoughts coming in our mind. So yeah, that's all. Now, anyone have any experience or anything about practicing mindfulness, or like, do you know any other techniques that you do follow, or have you followed any of these techniques and find it helpful before? I'm again opening the conversation if anyone would like to share any of their experience. Anyone have any experiences with grounding techniques, breathing exercises, or anything? I can see few people are typing. So yeah. Wow. Thank you so much, Shivani ma'am. Yeah, yoga and meditation are really good form of mindfulness because with yoga and meditation, we can control our breath, we can control our thoughts. So having a control or having grip on our thoughts and breathing system helps to calm down our nerves, and then it also helps to bounce back in our window of tolerance. I wash my face with fresh water and drink water. Yes, that is also a good mindfulness or being present in the moment, because you are doing kind of self-care thing. You're doing something to bring yourself back in the present. I normally buy color pens and just draw anything on a blank paper and seems to be happy with that. Thank you so much, Catherine. Yes, that also helps because we are just distracting our mind from if something is stressing us out, and then doing something that gives us pleasure. It is mindfulness and self-care both. Nisha Thapa, I always try breathing exercises in the gym wherever I'm nervous. That's a great example. Yes, breathing exercises the gym because it helps to bring back our attention to our body and our breathing. So yeah, that helps. Kavita, Kavita has mentioned taking a evening walk. That falls under mindful walking. Thank you, Kavita. Yeah, walking always helps. It's the simplest things, but sometimes this is all we need to be present in our life. Now, mindfulness in daily life. How we can integrate mindfulness activities in our daily life. It's very simple, but yet sometimes we do avoid because our life is really busy and we have to balance a lot of things: work, study, personal life, family life. Yes. So let's see how we can integrate mindfulness with some simple activities. For example, routine integration. We can start small. Practice mindfulness for 5 minutes a day. You can choose any form of mindfulness: breathing, walking, or gym, yoga, and allocate a specific time, half an hour, 1 hour, or even 5 minutes if you're doing breathing. It's fine. And try to practice it regularly because mindfulness doesn't require perfection, but it needs continuous practice. So yeah, use daily activities, like apply mindfulness during meals, work, or interaction. So when we say being mindful when we interact, we always mention about active listening. That means if someone's saying us something, we should hold on, listen, and absorb what they're trying to convey, and then respond. because sometimes we're in a rush and we're like, okay, I just need to reply to her or him, or yeah. But then we just need to take a pause and think about actually what they're trying to convey and respond with empathy and try to understand where they're coming from. So, yeah, if we integrate mindfulness in our daily life, it helps us to reduce our distractions and improves our concentration. And it also helps us to give us a quiet space to do self reflection and bring back our self awareness. Yeah, it's almost the same thing. Just to get started with mindfulness, we can do practice meditation, deep breathing exercises, or we can join some groups. There are some groups who do practice mindfulness in a group kind of setting, because sometimes when we are by ourselves, we feel like not too motivated to practice mindfulness. But when we are in a group kind of setting, we can feel motivated and practice more with a group. And also there are lots of apps, for example, Calm, Breathe, and this kind of Headspace, this kind of app which has a lot of mindfulness features, and you can engage yourself in those kind of activities. That helps as well. Now we will do some exercises. It's called body awareness exercises, and it's an evidence-based form of being mindful and bring ourselves back in our window of tolerance. So I will request everyone to turn on their cameras and just give me 2 to 3 minutes. It won't be taking much time. I know it might be difficult for you to turn on your cameras, but if you can, please do turn on. And then we can just practice this exercise and you can share your feedback, how you feel. Okay, let's turn on cameras. You guys can switch on your cameras and participate. It's not gonna take long. Thank you, Akshay, for
Thank you,
turning your
Akshay.
camera. Okay, maybe we can start. Well, Akshay is still there.
All right. Yeah, let's start. Okay, before we start, I will just give you some quick instruction.
Asta,
We
thank you, Asta.
Thank you, Asta. So this grounding technique involves body scanning and deep breathing both. So when we say deep breathing, then we will inhale long using our diaphragm, like the deep breath, and then hold on for I think 4 or 5 seconds, and then exhale slowly. So the exhaling time should be longer than the inhaling time. That's how we do deep breathing. So as we are starting, I request you to close your eyes and bring back your attention to your body, mind, and your thoughts. 5 long, deep breaths through your nose and exhale through your mouth. 5 long, deep breaths. It's like you are smelling roses, and then when you're exhaling, you're just blowing out the candles. Once you are done with deep breathing, let's place your feet flat on the floor.
Feet. Do you want us to stand up?
No, you can just sit down and do that. You can just sit comfortably and just place your feet flat on the floor and wiggle your toes. Curl and uncurl your toes for several times and spend a moment noticing the sensation in your feet. You can also, if you prefer, you can close your eyes and notice if there is any sensation, any tension,
any tightness in your feet, in your toes, and just notice and be relaxed. Now, slowly press your feet on the ground for several times and pay attention to the sensation in your feet and your leg as you make contact with the ground. If there is any sensation, any tightness in your leg, in your feet, just pay attention and try to feel relaxed. Next, bring back your attention to your hand and clench your hand into fist and then release the tension for 5 to 6 times. And just notice if there's any sensation, any tightness, or anything you can feel in your palms, in your hand, or fingers. Next, press your palms together. Press them harder and hold this pose for 15 seconds. Pay attention to the feeling of tension in your hands and in your arms. Rub your palms together briskly and notice the sounds and feeling of warmth. Now, the next thing is reach your hand over the head, just like you are trying to reach the sky. Great, guys. Stretch like this for 5 seconds and bring your arm down slowly. Let them relax at your sides. Now, close your eyes again and take 5 more deep breaths and notice the feeling of calm in your body. Inhale for 5 seconds, hold on, and then exhale for 7 seconds. Take few rounds of deep breathing. And once you're feeling relaxed, you can just slowly open your eyes and connect to your present. Yeah, now it's time for you to share how you feel. Yes, it might not so be comfortable. Yeah, it might not be good for everyone, or some people may feel like it's not for me, but that's fine as well. But if you can always share if you're feeling good about it. Is there any thoughts, anything? Thank you so much, Charlene. Thank you, Catherine. Yeah, we can do it anywhere. It's like a skill. When sometimes it feels like, yeah, it's funny doing this and that, but when we are really used to it, we can understand how it helps us to bring our attention from our toes, from our feet, to our hand, fingers, palms, and to our head. And at the very end, we are exhaling and connecting again to our present. So, yeah, it requires a little bit of practice, but it's a skill. You can, if you want, you can just take the screenshot and practice later on if you want. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Kavita. Thank you, Astha. Thank you, Nisha. Thanks, Rage. Thanks, Shiva. Thanks, yeah, free therapy. Thank you so much, Sunil. All right, then the next thing is, it is the last tip. Along with these mindfulness and grounding techniques, we can always set aside a time for activities that we like reading, walking, listening to music. I think Katrin mentioned that she likes to draw. So, yes, that is also some kind of non work or non study related activities that we can do in our free time. Like, we need to allocate a time. Like, this is the time when I'll do only the activities I like. It can be 15 minutes, it can be half an hour, but that will be our self-care activities, and it will really help us improve our mood if we can practice regularly. Also, we can move our body and release endorphins, which is also a stress hormone, which helps to reduce stress and improve mood. That means going to gym, doing yoga, meditation, or some muscle relaxation exercises will always help. At the very end, we can practice mindfulness or yoga that will help us to ground our thoughts and it will help us to connect to our present. That's all, guys. Thank you so much for participating and actively participating in the grounding techniques. So, yeah, that's all from my end. Thank you so much. I'm really glad.
Right. Thank you so much, Patricia. That was so good.
Thank you.
It was so
Thank
relaxing. I
you,
think
Richard.
everybody can do it at home. Yeah, anyone, if you do have questions, please message your questions, or you can open your microphone to raise your question so that the difficult answer.
Thank you, Pratham. Anyone have any queries or anything, you can always share your thoughts, your queries, or anything. I'm happy to answer. Thank you, Shivani ma'am. Thank you, Astha. Thank you, Shiva.